Hello and welcome back. I am coming to you with some grand hopes and ambitions for the month of December. As you can see from the title, I am attempting to participate in vlogmas this year. I don't know if vlogmas is something that people still do, but I thought there's a first time for everything. And I think it would be a really good way to hold myself accountable to some projects that I want to make headway on before the year ends. And so here we are. I am very much so not planning on using Vlogmas as a way to like document my daily life because my daily life is not that interesting, but I do hope and aspire to work on some of my projects every day for the next 25 days. And thought, why not have an accountability partner in the form of my YouTube channel and YouTube viewers. So here we are. I thought also this would be a great time, a good time, because there's no time like the present, to more formally introduce myself. Since there is now what feels like to me like a non-negligible number of people with me here on my channel now, which I am grateful for and kind of flabbergasted about. And I have never done a proper introduction, so I thought, why not? First and foremost, thanks so much for being here. My name is Fred, or Jennifer, or Jennafred, depending on who you are or who you ask. I am primarily, for the purposes of this channel, a fiber artist and craftsperson. I have been knitting for at least 20 years. Or at least I've known how to knit for at least 20 years. I would say that I've been knitting seriously for probably the last 7 or 8 years. And by seriously, I mean like making garments and making things that are not just rectangles. And from there, from knitting, I've really branched out into other areas of the fiber arts world. I like to think that my one true love of the fiber arts is spinning, which frankly I do the least of, but I enjoy the most. And so it's something that I definitely want to prioritize over the next few weeks. I also am a pretty new weaver, because my favorite thing to do with my hand spun is to weave with it. And I also dabble very gently in like fiber fleece processing. But you know, the big ones for me are knitting, spinning, and weaving. If this is not your first time on my channel, you've also seen videos about antiquing, about music, which are also things that I'm very interested in, and love talking about and can talk about forever. But I think, at least for the purposes of Vlogmas, I'm gonna keep it fiber arts focused, with maybe a fun thing here and there. But I thought today, for my first Vlogmas video, I would walk through my hopes and ambitions for Vlogmas and some of the things that I hope to make headway on, just so you can kind of know what you're in for. Of course, plans change, but I hope to spend, you know, at least 15 minutes to an hour every day working on something. And so without much further ado, I will get into it. So my biggest priority is to spin down more of my fiber stash. And so I have a few things that I think will be kind of not going at once, but maybe going at once, because I do have an e-spinner and I have my lovely Kromsky Symphony that I also love to spin on. And so there's a few things that I want to work on. The first is, well, I don't know, I haven't decided in what order I'm going to work on things, but I will just share. I recently got this gradient set of wool dyed from Inglenook Fibers. The set is called November Mood, and it is a new to me wool called Punta Arenas, or I think the sheep are from Punta Arenas in Chile, and so it's similar to a Corriedale, I think, and they are very much so my favorite, very warm, autumnal, almost jewel toned colors. And so I'd like to spin that up. I typically don't spin for specific projects. My default wool is somewhere between a fingering and a DK most of the time. And for me, that's also what I like to knit with and weave with. And so I figure as long as I'm in that ballpark, I will find a use for that yarn that I've spun. So that is the first thing that I hope to spin. The next thing, this might be familiar if you've watched my Rhinebeck vlog, are these bats that I got from the Woodland Pixie in the colorway Treebeard. And it's just a lovely kind of greenish purple, again, very like autumnal nature forest vibes, which I love. And so these I will also spin. I think this I might use for a knitting project. I am trying to, and I'll kind of get into my knitting projects in a bit. And I'm trying to figure out which of these hand spuns I'll use for this, but I do want to make a colorwork dicky or collar, depending on where you are in the world, what you call it, to keep my neck and chest warm for when I'm biking. And so I'm hoping that one of these works out for that. The last thing I want to spin is, I got this bat ages ago from Artifacts of Appreciation. It's one of her Henry blends. Again, very autumnal, foresty, mossy vibes. It's pretty small, and so I think it'll be good for kind of like a one skein wonder kind of project, or like as a contrast color for something. But I just want to spin it up because it's just been sitting on my desk for, I want to say like at least a year, probably. So hopefully I get that done. So those are I would say my top 3 priorities. Similar, related to spinning, I have this Romney Cross fleece that I got at Maryland Sheep and Wool 2022. And it is this lovely, beautiful, crimpy, variegated Romney Cross fleece. And I have probably carded, this is all washed, I've carded about, maybe, it's a 4.5 pound fleece. I've carded probably close to 1.5 pounds of it. And I've been kind of splitting it in color because I had these grand plans about making like this sheep to shawl, like gradient shawl, where I have a bunch of the bats that I've carded are the super light, almost white parts of the fleece, and I also have all these bats that are like the super dark grays, almost browns, and then this is kind of what's left is kind of all the mid-tones. But I do think I have so much of it. I have enough that I can start experimenting with carding, I think, without feeling like I'm cutting into quantities cutting, like, I feel like I have enough for like at least like 2 or 3 sweater quantities of this fleece, and so I feel like now I can start playing around with it without fearing that I'm not going to have yarn enough for one project or another. And part of that will be hopefully blending, getting into some blending. I really want to start working with sari silk, and so I got this sari silk sampler from Inglenook, along with those gradient, that gradient set. And I also have my like party mix that I got at Rhinebeck. And so my hope is to start making some fun, mostly neutral bats that have these like pops of color in them, because I love a textured, sparkly, speckled yarn, especially for weaving. And so I'm hoping to make some of those. I don't think I will get to spinning any of those over the next month, but I do hope at the very least I want to get through carding maybe like another pound or pound and a half of this fiber, because it's not going anywhere. So the last thing is, of course, knitting. So as you may have seen in my Rhinebeck video, also I got a sweater quantity of this lovely yarn from Green Mountain Spinnery, in the colorway Pine Warbler. And I am planning to make a pines pullover. I'll insert a picture. It's just like a really cool cabled sweater. And so for me, knitting is kind of always like a background project. Like if I have a minute to just like lounge on the couch and knit, I'll do that. For me, it's like very brainless, and I like that for like in between projects that involve more decision making. And so I'm hoping to just kind of be working on this. I don't know that I expect to finish it before Vlogmas is over, but I do want to start it at the very least. And of course, as I mentioned, I am trying to make a dicky / collar for myself, and I'll insert some photos of the projects that I've favorited on Ravelry. I haven't decided on a pattern yet, but I do want to incorporate hand spun into it, so that might sway my decision one way or another. So yeah, those are the things that I'm hoping to work on over the next few weeks. In order to keep Vlogmas, I think, sustainable, I am hoping, and I think I'm not known for my brevity, but my hope is to keep my actual Vlogmas vlogs pretty short and simple, like hopefully not longer than like 5 minutes, where I think like the format I'm envisioning is like spending a minute, you know, going over what I'm planning on working on that day, filming some process video, like shots and clips, and then kind of wrapping up like, you know, this is the progress I've made. And so I'm hoping that that kind of keeps it streamlined and straightforward, and most of all sustainable, because I am not known for my brevity, consistency, or, you know, well, anyway, neither here nor there. Well, we'll be here, we'll be there, so. So I think that's it for today. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you join me for the remainder of Vlogmas, and I hope you enjoy these videos. I know that I really like watching people work, like spin and knit, and so I'm hoping that this is something that you all enjoy. I think that I will enjoy making it, so I'm very much so looking forward to it. Thanks so much again for tuning in, and I will see you in the next one.